My beloved editors, whomst I love very much, gave me this link, not knowing that I do indeed despise TikTok. What am I looking at here? TikTok is too much going on. I don't like the fact that it has, like... Because nobody uses TikTok on desktop, so, you know... But if you're using it on desktop, you got stuff over here, you got stuff over here, you know? There's so much stuff going on. So what's going on? What's happening here? 100k likes. Wow. Tinder date was mad she had to split the bill. Shrug emoji.
Tinder date was mad that she had to split the bill.
Got it.
Well, what'd you say?
What kind of food do you think it is based on the table? This looks like Mediterranean tiles, right? Like some kind of... Oh, Mexican? You think so? Oh, no, yeah, you're right. That makes more sense, yeah. I just see blue and white, and I think, like, all the Greek places that I've been to. Indian. Oh, some people are saying Indian. Okay. Mexican, Indian, Greek? That's like the trifecta, I feel. You know?
Well, what'd you say?
Why are we splitting the bill?
Well, I mean, it's our first date, so I thought we should...
Whenever I see stuff like this, I assume just by default with, like... And it would need to be proven to me otherwise. This is always fake and made for engagement. That being said, I'm still going to engage with the... you know, it's made for engagement, so I'm going to engage.
Maybe go half?
I can't believe you made us split the bill.
Yeah, it's fake.
I mean, you ordered an appetizer that I didn't even touch. Why do you think that I should
Okay,
pay
but
for it?
you asked me out.
I know, but you ordered something
You
that I did.
asked
Isn't it f***ing wild that there are literally, like, millions of young men around the world who are going to be pulled into, like, red pill shit because they watch fake TikToks about how, like, all women are duplicitous and like, horrible or whatever? Like, incredibly poorly acted rage bait is going to be the hook that reels them in, you know, to a lifetime of graft and sin.
Me out.
All right, I'll just take you home and... All right, see ya. Hello? Hello? See ya.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, we get it. Has anyone... Okay, I know there are women who are like this. I just feel like they're highly overrepresented in social media and, like, rage bait posts because that's the rage that people are trying to look at for bait, you know? You don't see the opposite, right? Because there are guys who will do this. Like, there are guys who will be, like, really petty and sort of, like, chauvinistic or domineering about the, like, who pays or how do you split who pays or whatever. But I feel like that doesn't get anywhere near the amount of, like, insane rage bait that this gets. Like, people love to hate women, you know? Like, people, like, any excuse people can find to hate women, they'll go for it. They'll like, I have never in my life once been on a date where a woman... got mad at me for saying we'd split because so now I don't split the bill because I feel like given my situation it would be kind of mean and dumb for me to. But before the streaming stuff, I would always split the bill. You know, because like, well, I'm not going to pay the whole thing. What do you think this is? You know, honestly, you should be paying for the whole thing. You get to be with me, and it was just never an issue. It was never an issue. I never saw a woman get upset about this. Not once, you know? It was presumed. So I don't know. Most women I know wouldn't mind splitting that. No, that's what I mean. I just don't think it's maybe it's like a type of woman thing, you know? Like maybe there's like a type, because I feel like in all my life, I have met and interacted with a very small number of women who meet the tropes and stereotypes that get placed on women by angry guys online. Meanwhile, I've met so many dudes who represent like the worst stereotypes people put towards hating guys, you know what I mean? I don't know. Women with no money. I just... Oh, wait! This did happen to me once. I do remember now. Way back in my first job. I think I must have just turned 18. Wait, was I 18? She was at least 18. I would have been 18. I had to have been. It was in Los Angeles, and she looked like, I mean, this was more than a decade ago, but you would have to imagine, like, whatever an Instagram girl back then would look like in your head, just like that, you know, very doll like, you know, lots of makeup. And she was a coworker. We went on a date, and I thought we were just getting like a casual bite to eat. So she was like, "Oh, meet me here," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And we ended up going to this fancy French restaurant, and because I didn't, I was just, and then we both sat down at the waiter brought us to the table, and I was sitting there adjacent to, or not adjacent, across the table from her, and I was like, "Oh man, this place is really fancy, you know? You sure you can afford this?" And she was like, "It's like, I." I, I, I didn't know this place before we got here. I don't know about the vibes of this place. Do you want to go somewhere else? And I think we went to a Johnny Rockets, which is great because I love Johnny Rockets. You can put like a nickel in the machine and it plays the music. You know, horrible behavior, but also hilarious. Yeah, I think she was trying to find. She was very opaque, but I think she was trying to find guys to pay for her rent for her, or like she wanted to be a roommate but not have to pay. I don't even know if it was a sexual favors thing. I don't know if it was like that or if it was like she just wanted to like coast by on vibes. I have no idea. But she was super boring, so we didn't really talk after that. That's it. That's the whole time. I'm nearly 30 years old. That's the whole my entire life. That's the one encounter I've had. It didn't like wound me in any way, you know? She wasn't even particularly, oh, of course, Tempest. She wasn't even particularly like weird or mean to me. She was just kind of presumptuous. Is that it? Is that Vosh, it's because you're from Beverly Hills? In fairness, yeah, I literally grew up in Beverly Hills, so I feel like the cut of woman you're going to get there is going to be like not as great, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Vosh in Latin America, most women would get very mad if you told them to split the bill. Okay, here's the thing that I don't understand, okay? All of these red pill trad guys or whatever want women to return with a V to, you know, like, oh, this, that, the other. But that system where you return with a V is one in which women don't pay, you know? Like, you want it both ways or whatever. Like, if you take, like, the Andrew Tate archetype, where it's like, you know, you know, you have to be the alpha male, Bugatti, you know, women are just like dogs or whatever. You think they're paying? Like in that system, the women are just like trophy wives. You're earning all the money, you know. I tell you, guys, you know, young men, like 14-year-old insecure boys, want nothing more than all of the upsides of like widespread chauvinism and none of the downsides, you know? Like if you want to return with a V, if you want like a doll for a wife who never talks back or whatever, then okay, she won't share your interests because her sharing your interests would be like masculinizing and it would be like a way of detracting from your talent in those fields. So you don't really get to talk with her about much except the weather, I guess. You're paying for everything, like that her job is to stay at home and take care of the kids. So if you don't have any kids yet, then congratulations, you get to like, you know, breed and like just and just like watch her sit there while you do work, you know, enjoy that. And also you have to pay at the meals, you know, like why would any like prospective housewife deign to pay for her own meal when you're trying to like, you know, put a baby in her? It's stupid. Everyone likes to complain about women. You guys, I gotta tell you guys, okay? Not many people are willing to acknowledge the secret, all right? Did you know that for the most part, women are pretty all right? Men are the problem. And I don't mean this in some broader sociological patriarchy way or whatever. I mean that men are annoying. Men are terrible at reading social cues, and they're abrasive for no reason, and they don't even seem to know it. They're just you know, like what if we're talking about who's annoying? Women are the ones who are at least like women are the ones who are shamed into being quiet growing up. Okay, so at the very least, a nice positive to that element of their character and personal and you know trauma is that they're slightly on average less annoying. You know, everyone likes to imagine that men's like innately abrasive tendencies are pleasant until you encounter another guy doing it. Every guy likes to think like, oh no, I'm just like the Bard of the group, you know, I'm just like the rough around the edges, you know, loud, hard talking, says it like it is guy. And then you meet another guy like that and it's like, oh Christ, oh Jesus Christ, I've been like that. That's what I've been. That's the archetype. That's what it looks like from outside. I'm not saying you can't be a loud, abrasive guy and be cool. I'm just saying a lot of guys don't pull that shit off, you know? I'm just, who's being annoying, you know? Like who? I'll tell you what happens more often than this, at least in my experience, people I've dealt with, people I've talked to, okay? The guy will pay for everything. And then he'll be weird about it. either he'll think it means he's entitled to pussy, like he gets to bust one for the pay, or he'll like hold it over you with that weird like passive aggressive like, oh, happy to pay for you. Yeah, glad I could get you that meal, you know, and like constantly reminding, like, you know, if you're gonna pay for the meal, it's fine to pay for the meal, but then don't like be weird about it. You paid for the meal, you know. That shit, I feel like, you know, I've only been so many dates with guys. Yeah, for the most part with guys, I just show up and, you know, but from what I understand, like that happens fairly often with guys. So, and I'm not saying you should use this as an excuse to like, I don't know, hate dudes or whatever. I'm just saying that like the rage bait I feel is very inaccurately directed, you know, it's not going out right. Back when I was dating, I used to do 50-50 because I never wanted the guy to think he was going to get sex because he got me food. Yeah, that's like a common thing. A lot of guys will just straight up do that shit, you know? That is like and by the way, I should say, that's not just a guy being rude. That's a guy being like weirdly rude. To be fair, in terms of like where you're at and being annoying, like a woman being bitchy about splitting the bill is one thing, but this is like a very non-violent way of being irritating unless something goes really wrong. Whereas in the other direction, you know, many a terrible night has begun with a guy thinking they're entitled to sex because they bought you something. That's, you know, that's like the opening line to plenty of bad stories. I think the first date should be split and then taking turns afterwards. Fine. I think that I think that the person who has more disposable income should pay for all of it, or it should be proportional to the amount of disposable income, to the extent that that's not like an annoying math problem, unless whatever is being bought is like meaningful as a gift, you know? Like if I was dating someone who made a lot less than me and they wanted to treat me to a dinner, not like we're going out to dinner, but it's like a specifically like them to me thing or whatever, and they paid, I would think that's like a component of, it's, you know, like you wouldn't borrow money from someone to buy a gift for the person you're borrowing from, even if that like makes sense in a distributive sense resource wise. It's also just, you know, kind of contrary to the spirit of the gift giving, I feel. It's kind of, yeah, it's just weird social rules, you know, whatever. Humans are undateable. That's true. But one day, you know, we'll have cat girls, and they'll be I assume will be, you know, Elon Musk will make cat girls, and they'll be easy to deal with, I imagine. Last thing I'll say, include this in the segment. Dungeon Meshi, such a good manga. It's being made into an anime right now by Trigger. Actually, so fucking good. It's so good. It's so good and cute. I really like it. Highly recommend looking at it. It's like a cooking manga in like a fantasy system. It's got a female mangaka, which is important because they're just better at this sort of thing. Look at the cute little, all the main characters, if they were different races, like elves or dwarves or whatever. Look how cute the art is. So cute. So cute. Also, look at the actual design of the Oni girl. Boing. That's right. There you go. I've got you guys hooked now, huh? I've got your asses. You're hook, line, and sick wire head so smooth. She's like 8 feet tall. Don't worry about it. It's a cute cat girl, dude. Okay? There's my pitch. I've been thinking, because I think, you know, I'm reading it and I'm thinking, wow, this is really good. I know it's doing well because it's getting an anime adaptation, but I still want to tell people. There, I told you. It's in a segment now. You can now see, now you know, Now it's out there. I feel my obligation to spread the word has been fulfilled. What do you think about otherwise feminist women who insist on the guy paying the bill because they asked her out? I really don't think whoever asks the other person out matters, except in some specific contexts. Like if you say, can I take you to dinner? Then sure, that language implies you'll be paying. Fine. But if it's like, hey, do you want to go out sometime? You know, that's just like you're both going out. Like I don't think anything about that indicates you're taking like a greater degree of responsibility for the payment, you know? What was the name of that manga? Dungeon Meshi. You'll find it. It should be assumed platonic at the start. Maybe. If you say to a person, like a coworker or a friend, like, hey, do you want to go out for dinner sometime or whatever? I mean, like, past a point, like, you have to defer to, I guess, your ability to pick up on context clues, but you can be, like, direct as well, you know? Like, if you say, hey, you know, I think you're really nice. I'd like to get to know you better, you know? Want to go out for dinner sometime? I think that's pretty, like, obviously an indication that you're interested. But you still want to clarify, right? If ever you have a question, just ask. It's fine, you know? It's okay. It's all good. I want to have with you. Yeah. Convey that. That sounds like an invitation for me, so the person who asks pays because they invited me. I would not assume that. But again, it's not relevant to me because I always pay anyway. But if I wasn't, you know, a multi-billionaire from streaming, and I said, hey, do you want to go out for food sometime? I would assume it was going to be split. I have very little interest, I guess, in like maintaining the artifice of, you know, like, well, the guy's asking the girl out or whatever, you know, God almighty. It's very unattractive, you know, in my opinion. What if you just want to be generous? If you want to, then sure, yeah. I always feel really bad taking any gifts from people or being paid for because I'm stupid. You are stupid. If people give you things, you should take them. It's disrespectful not to. Unless you have a feeling that they're in some way injuring themselves in doing that. Like a person with no money is giving you money because they're desperate for your attention or whatever. Yeah, you should accept gifts that are given. And say thank you. What if I want a person to be generous to me for no reason? Give them a reason.